All right, so for 2.6, we're going to learn how to look at scatter plots and lines of best fit. So scatter plots are whenever you have two variables. So if I were to like survey everyone in here and say, like record your number of hours that you studied versus your grade on the last test. And that could be put where everyone has an ordered pair. So if you studied 2 hours and you made a 95, then your ordered pair would be 2, 95. So every person would be a point. And so if you take AP Stats with me, then you'll learn a lot about scatter plots, but we're just going to kind of talk about them for a short amount of time. But what it means to have a correlation is when you hear that something is correlated, that means that they have a relationship or they have an association with each other. So something that could be a positive correlation could be your height and your weight. So the taller that you are, the more that you weigh. That's a positive correlation. Something that could have a negative correlation could be, let's see, the number of hours you spend on your phone and the grade that you make on the next test, something like that. That could be negative. And then things that have no correlation, that could be two things that have no relationship at all. So maybe your shoe size and your GPA. Those have no correlation. So it's not like the bigger foot that you have, the higher your GPA. Like that makes no sense. So that would be considered no correlation. If we look at 1, 2, and 3, what I'm asking you to do, or what I want you to be able to do, is look at a graph, look at a scatter plot, and tell me, is it no correlation, positive, or negative? So if we look at number 1, what would you say that correlation is? No correlation. Good. Because it kind of just looks like random stars in the sky, like there's nothing. What about number 2? What do you think? Positive, because if I were to draw a line through those dots, it would be positive. And then number 3, negative. Good. So what we're going to be able to do, and what I'm about to show you on the calculator, is how to input data into a calculator, into a list, and then from there you're going to be able to find a line of best fit that's going to help you predict. So let's say, like number 3, let's say that was the number of hours on your phone, so phone hours, and this was your grade on the test. So I think that has a negative correlation. If you put all of those data points into a calculator, like all of the X's and all the Y's, you could actually calculate a line of best fit, which is going to be the line that best goes through all of these data points, so that maybe there's an X value on there like that doesn't show up in your data, but you want to predict. So if I said, let's predict if you spent 15 hours on your phone yesterday, what grade would you make on the test? So that it's going to be somewhere along this line of best fit. So that's what we're going to learn how to calculate. So in the A list, on add lists and spreadsheets, I want you to type the letter X in. If you flip to the following page, so number 4, I want you to input all of the X values. So 7.6, 7.1, 8.2, 7.5, 7.4, 7.8, 7.3. If you have an 84, you're going to hit the Stat Edit button, and there's instructions, I think, on the next page. So if you have an 84, try to follow those instructions, and then I can come out and help if you need help. So once you have done that, I want you to scroll to the top of your second list, and I want you to name that list Y. So you're just typing the letter Y. Whoops, not that. You're just typing the letter Y into list B, and I want you to type all of the Y values. So 195, 162, 213, 198, 170, 201, 187. So I'll give you guys a second to do that. Okay, so from there, you're going to hit the menu button. So menu 4, 1, 3. So menu 4, 1, 3. And that's linear regression. From there, you're going to change the X list. So hit the right button. You're going to change that to this X. And the Y list should be Y. So those are the only two things you need to change. You just hit the right arrow, and that will change the X and the Y. Then scroll down. You don't need to change anything else. And hit OK. And you only need two things from this. You don't need the R squared or the R. You won't learn that until you take AP Statistics. So M represents the slope. So 43 let's go out 2 decimal places, 43.66. And then B represents your y-intercept. So negative 140.5. And then the regression equation would be y equals mx plus b. So I want you to write on your regression equation, put it in y equals mx plus b form. So for your m, that was your slope, you should have 43.66. For your b, it should be negative 140.5. My regression equation looks like y equals mx, so 43.66x plus b, so minus 140.5. And if I'm looking at whether, so if the question said, is this a positive or negative correlation, what would my answer be, positive or negative? Positive, because the slope is positive. Okay, so for part B, what I want you to do is go back to your add lists and spreadsheets, and you can manually override all of the numbers that you have. Okay, so whenever, go out 2 decimal places. Whenever you have, so you input new data into X and Y, what did I get for my slope? So M, 40.87. What did I get for my y-intercept? 262.83. Good. So my y equals mx plus b is y equals 40.87 x plus 262.83. If you just want to use 2 points, it's like saying x is negative 4 and 3, and then y is 12 and negative 2. So you'll put this into your x list, you'll put this into your y list. When you are editing on the TI Inspire, if you hit the delete button, it's going to have like this little cell that has a dash in it like this. So you have to delete it twice so that it goes to a blank cell. So let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. So when you delete something, if I hit delete, 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 it has that little dash. You have to delete it twice, so hit delete again. And for mine, it's not going away, but it should go away for yours. There we go. If you hit delete enough times, I've found that it just goes away. There's not really like a right or wrong. Just go delete it until there's no little dashed line. And then I'm going to plug in my points, so negative 4 and 3. And then I'm going to plug in my y value, so 12 and negative 2. Then I'm going to hit menu 4, 1, 3. I think that yours is probably already pulled up. So if it's already there on the side, it just edits it for you. You don't have to keep doing menu 4, 1, 3. And then you should get negative 2 and 4. So whenever you are plugging these in, these are the answers you should get for 5A and B.